For the past 4 years, Hid FM has consistently brought you this beautiful opportunity to come together and connect with people who are experienced and knowledgeable in different areas and spheres of life. And I must commend you for always making this conscious effort to learn and relearn and unlearn. And I commend you for making this conscious effort to reflect and renew, to breathe, live, and thrive. Please put your hands together for yourselves. You are the real MVPs. So, my name is PJ, and I'll be the moderator for the first panel session. But before we go into the session, I'd like us to do a quick vibe check, shall we? Let's do a quick vibe check. Let's see the vibe in the house. I guess we all know the slogan, right? Best music! Best music! Come on now. I'm looking for 100% vibe, That's 20. Can we do 100? All right, let's do 100. Best music! Aha, that's it. The vibe is in check. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you to today's event. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I'm particularly delighted to be doing this with you this morning. I must say you are all looking very handsome, very beautiful, very mindful, very demure. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you. All right, so taking charge, reducing financial stress, prioritizing self-care, and improving mental health. A very crucial topic, especially at a time like this when the average Nigerian is struggling to double up his finances. Men, women, young, old. But one thing we always forget is the fact that financial freedom is only one of the various critical aspects of your well-being. And that's why we must learn to take charge of our finances, prioritize self-care, and improve our mental health. And so this morning, our panelists have been carefully selected to give us nuggets and experiences that will help us learn how to improve, how to balance these three very important aspects of our well-being and, have a harmonious life. So, please meet our panelists for this session. I'm a gentleman, and so I'll begin with the lady. So, to join us on this panel, please join me as I make welcome a professional clinical counselor and the CEO, Hokma Therapy. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome Dr. Mfon Akpaso. You're very much welcome, Doctor. And also to join us on this session is a consultant psychiatrist with the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Calabar. Please join me as I make welcome Dr. Emmanuel Essien. A round of applause for him, please. Good morning, sir. Welcome. And last but not the least, we have a business coach and value improvement strategist. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I make welcome to the podium Mr. Julius Afolabi. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you. You're very much welcome, our beautiful and handsome panelists. Thank you for coming to be with us. So we'll move straight into the conversation. But before then, I'd like you to quickly listen to a story.
Good day, Queen Esther. I'll get straight to the point. My life changed dramatically after my family relocated to a new city. My wife of 6 years got a job and began spending time with friends who influenced her in ways I hadn't anticipated. We used to be content with what we had, always trusting God for more. We made our monthly budgets together, and I never interfered with her salary, even though we both knew what we earned. However, with her new circle of friends, my wife started asking for things I couldn't afford at the time: luxury brands, the latest gadgets, things I didn't see as priorities. She said she felt out of place around her friends and believed she needed to keep up to advance in her career. When I suggested that these friends might not be good for her, she would insist that they were crucial for her success. Now, my wife isn't one to nag, but she knows how to get me with her tears. It always breaks my heart to see her unhappy or in tears, and she knows my soft spots. My once peaceful home became tense. In an effort to make her happy, I got into an illegitimate business to make more money. I can't speak of it, but I'm ashamed of myself, as it goes against my Christian values and the way I was raised. Now, my wife has everything she wants, and our home is peaceful, but I am far from happy. I suffer from panic attacks and sleepless nights knowing what's coming for me. I want to live this life, but it gets harder every day. I think about the consequences of my actions, and sometimes I feel like I can't face life anymore. When I think of my wife and our two children, but I can't hold on. I can't hold on for too long. I always knew life had its challenges, but I never imagined it would reach a point where I felt so devastated. The world is harsh, and in the end, everyone looks out for themselves. I've gathered enough money in different currencies to ensure my immediate and extended family will have the life they've always wanted, even when I'm no more. Queen Esther, there is nothing left for me in this lonely world. I wish to remain anonymous, but I hope, I hope that my story is shared on your program. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just listened to is one of the many interesting stories that we listen to every Saturday on Tell Your Story. This story will not form the basis of our conversation this morning, but we just felt that you should have a little feel of what Tell Your Story really is. That is one of the many interesting, heartbreaking stories that we listen to every Saturday. So now we get into the conversation. And our topic is taking charge, reducing financial stress, prioritizing self care, and improving mental health. And so I would like us to take on this topic step by step, reducing financial stress, prioritizing self care, and improving mental health. And that's why I'll not be beginning with the lady this time around, even though I'm still a gentleman. And so I'd like to begin with you, Mr. Julius Afolabi. You know, we live in a very fast paced world. And I think Nigeria is even faster than the rest of the world because here in Nigeria, everyone is struggling to make ends meet. Everyone is struggling to make money. Everyone is struggling to survive at the very least. And interestingly, financial stress is not a known factor in this part of the world. And a lot of people just go through it without actually knowing that they are going through it. And so I'd like you to throw light on the idea of financial stress. What really is financial stress, and how can one identify that he's going through financial stress?
Okay, thank you very much. Financial stress is when your income generating activities and capacity are lesser and weaker than your money demanding obligations. Right? That is to say, the things that are the activities that you do that brings you money are weaker than all the things that demand money from you. It's very obvious that money isn't everything, but money will make a lot of things easy. And the truth is this, that how wealthy, your stress will begin from three dimensions: how you spend, how you earn, and how you live. So that's basically cost, income, and lifestyle. Those are the three core areas. That's the triangle that your stress will come out from. And now, let's take it. The stress comes from two, after looking at that three. Now, two basic things that will bring financial pressure and stress to you. Number one is your what? Necessities. That's inevitabilities, things you cannot do without, basic things, right? Your soap, your rent, school fees, and the rest of them, food, housing, clothes, and shelter at that lower rung. And then number two is eventuality. Eventualities are the things you did not plan for that happen. Now let me take a simple survey here. How many of us here right now can handle an emergency of 100,000? That's now. They say 100,000. Say, waiting to solve the matter now 100,000. Let me see your hands up. How many of us? 100,000. Please, let's. We're just trying to do a physical statistics here, just for us to know.
They're scared of being
a feel of it. Yes, we are
scared
scared.
of kidnapping.
Okay, let's make it anonymous, right? Let's make it anonymous. But in your heart, you know. Are we together? Now that has determined your broke level. Are we together? So some people's broke level is 2 million. Are we together? Some people's broke level is 2 billion. So your own broke level now is determined by that one question. If something happens now and you need 100,000 to fix it and you can't have it. So you can see that you are already under financial stress. Are we together? You're so finished and you are thinking of how you are going to get the next one. If you have to live from paycheck to paycheck, you're already under financial stress. Are we together? That means your income generating activities are weaker than your what? Your money demanding obligations. Are we together? As a matter of fact, high blood pressure comes from financial pressure most of the time. And the truth is this, we all want to live. When your finances, your income cannot breathe, and your expenses are breathing faster than your income, definitely you cannot thrive. You are already in a financial mess. Are we together? So you can see from the little story that we just had right now, you will see that association to a large extent, trying to compare yourself with another person is the beginning of financial stress. There are lots of people that are living in a basic economy that want to live an exotic life. You are in a basic economy, your salary is basic, but you want to live an exotic and luxurious life. There's a difference between generosity and extravagance. Are we together? For the man, the woman already knows his weak points, so she can play with his emotions. But making money or keeping money is not emotional. That's the sincere truth about it. So there are 5 aspects generally to money from which your financial stress can happen. That is basically savings culture. Are we together? Savings culture, debt. You understand? Some people think that debt is bad or making budget. The guy started with budgets, right? You think budget is deprivation, but it's a pressure management system, right? It tells what you can go for and what you can ignore. You know how much is coming in, how much is going out. So borrowing, you understand? Borrowing is not bad, but debt can be a burden, right? So loan is not dash, you will pay with interest. Are we together? So like that. So you see your savings, your income generation, and then you have debt management, and then good relationships to a very large debt. Then investments. Investment is not when you have a lot of money, but when you can start and be consistent with what is profitable. A lot of people now are victims of scam, right? Just because they cannot mortgage their desires. We all have appetites. Are we together? So the breadwinner's family cannot develop a taste for cake. Do you understand? So that's exactly how it is. So financial stress starts from when you want to jump, when you have not learned how to climb, then financial stress will begin. Right? You took from, if they slash your salary, then you should slash your eating habits. 2, that is the sincere truth. Your eating habits, if you don't have to eat with meat again, for now, don't eat with meat until you are able to generate more income that will provide meat. Right? Somebody say, if you want to eat egg, lay it. Right? You want to eat egg, lay it. So because of the strain. So if more money is not, when your expenses supersede your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. So the strain will begin to come from the basics, things that you cannot do without, and things that you don't expect. That's why motive of money in economics. You have transactionary motive, you have precautionary motive, you have speculative motive. Are we together? So the one transaction is the one you do on a daily basis. Precautionary is the one that you didn't expect but happened. Life happens. Somebody can lose his job tomorrow. How long can you survive? That's the big question, right? Because you don't have emergency fund. Some people think it's luxurious, but then you need it. Life happens. A personal story now. 12 days after my second son was given birth to, I lost my job. And my mom was around, and I'm firstborn. My dad is late. She just came for Mugo. I got back to work, and then I just got to work, and they say, work has finished. So what do I do? Before then, I had, there was this share loan that we had. I paid it off. I said, I don't want to live with debt. So thank God. So that day, I just took my letter and knelt down. I said, God, thank you for how much I've contributed here. Show me what next to do. But going back home was a problem because it's not closing time. So I got back. I had to wait around, hang around somewhere until in the evening. And when I go back home in the evening, I called in my wife, say, babe, now waiting happen with this. But you know my mom is around. There's nobody taking care of her. I can't add my own issues to her own now. She's here to do Omugo. For all the time that she's going to be here doing the Omugo, I will dress up and go to work. And I'll come back in the night. So let's keep it at that until she would go. And that was how we managed it till she went back. And when she went back, I gave her like 2 or 3 months later. And since all my younger ones, I have about 6 siblings, and all of them are graduates, all of my payroll. I called them, I called my mom and say, I have tried. You know, the last time that you came, this is what happened, but I didn't want to tell you. This one is working. This person is working. This person is working now. So they can take care of you. For now, please allow me to breathe. You understand? That is the sincere truth. You get it? Not far from that, my wife lost her father, right? And she's the only daughter. So according to tradition, I'm to bring a cow. Are we together? And I don't even have a chicken. So, and that's culture and tradition. You can't rule out that. And you know, so I told my wife, what's going to happen? Even the transport money to go save was problem. It's not like I lived an extravagant life. I worked in the bank for about a decade. Are we together? And my salary, everything is programmed. Before my salary comes, I have my distribution schedule. Sometimes I end in 7 figures, right? Almost 7 figures. But sometimes I'll be left with just about 7,000 naira at the end of the month for myself. So, and every 3 months, some money come, that one for school fees, because school fees is every 3 months. So I tailored those 3 months money coming in to school fees, right? The one that comes 6 months for capital investments. Are we together? But when I got to the village, right, they were expecting a cow. I told my wife, there's nothing. I had some skills. I had already lost my job. So I had some skills. I went around 23 banks in this Calabar here. Every morning, I'll do a strategy session for them. I had some products. I had a book that I authored. I had CDs. So after 15 minutes refire session for them, I'll sell the CD. That's how I generated money to travel. So when we got there, I called the brothers. Our brothers. You know, all of them are male. Only I, and she's the last one. So I called them and the Kingsmen. I said, I know what I am supposed to do. But sincerely, I have just lost my job and things have been very tight. And for now, I can't bring a chicken. But whatsoever it is that you want me to do, domestic work, anything, forget that I'm an in-law. I'm ready to do it. And trust me, you know what I did? I didn't invite any member of my family. Because I didn't have money to put them in hotel. And I didn't want to go and be a bundle of liability there and disgracing myself. So I told my mom, I told my uncles, don't worry, I will go alone. One of my uncles that could sponsor himself followed me. Right? So I didn't invite any member of my family. He said, how would they know that you have a... I said, then they know that I have a family. Forget, everybody is busy. I did what? That's how I was able to what? You see, I didn't put myself under any extraordinary financial stress. You understand me? And I didn't go borrowing. You understand? I've learned not to borrow. Right? Work within my means. To be a good... I've learned, don't be a good Samaritan that cannot continue his journey. Are we together? So that's how...
Wow. So much has been said. Thank you so much, Mr. Folabi, for sharing those wise nuggets with us. You've proven yourself to be a strategist. You know, you're a very strategic person. And let me say this, he was not disguising. He was only practicing self-care, all right? And talking about self-care, let's talk to Dr. Mfon now. Dr. Mfon, when I say self-care, the first thing that comes to my mind is what the Gen Zs call baby boy lifestyle, baby girl lifestyle, as the case may be, you know. But I'd like you to tell us what really is self-care and why is it really important for our well-being?
Okay, self-care for me is loving myself, being kind to myself, prioritizing myself, and living my life in such a way that I don't put myself under unnecessary stress. Like we are looking at financial stress. I know Mr. Folabi has said a lot of things, but I also want to add the fact that we can also put ourselves under unnecessary stress when we decide not to live our own lives. As in, I want to live my sister's life. I don't know if we understand what I mean. Instead of me living my life, I mean, the story really captures this, the story that we listened to. The lady decided to, live another person's life. And she did not just put herself under stress, okay, because her husband was now able to, for her, manage the situation. But the man, he said his mental health had gone haywire. So, self-care is, I need to prioritize myself. I need to be kind to myself. I need to love myself, but at the same time, live my own life. Not want to live another person's life. You know, there are some people that, like, maybe I have a friend whose daughter is in a particular private school and the amount of money is, so expensive. But because the person is my friend, I want to live her life. And I make up my mind that from this time onwards, my own monthly salary is 150K, right? I don't know how much that person is collecting, but I must put my child in that school. I must put my child in. Obviously, I am putting myself under very unnecessary stress. And that means that I don't care about myself. It's not really about whether, in fact, this really is a lot. Because, for instance, when we consider the social media space, you see your friend posing in front of somebody's house with somebody's car and snapping and putting on Facebook and saying, the Lord is good to me. And you make up your mind, this is the kind of life I want. And meanwhile, you don't have an idea that that person has no relationship with any of those things. So that is not self-care. In the midst of me trying to prioritize myself and make myself happy, I need to also look at my mental health. What is it that I can do that will put me under unnecessary stress? And if I can recognize those things, then I need to keep away from them. In fact, let me also bring to the fore something that women are can identify with very easily, How many of us do book me down? Book me down. Am I in the right place? Book me down. We know book me down. Book me down, yes. I don't need the shoe. And I am going to somebody, okay, they've come to advertise the shoe in the office. How much? 20K. I have 2K. I give. Next month, 2K. Do you know there are lots of people that do book me down? By the time the month ends, before the salary comes, it has finished. The moment I am doing that, I don't understand the concept of me caring about myself, being able to love myself. I might think I am living well or whatever, but when I live my life in such a way that I put myself under unnecessary stress, that to me is not self-care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ofon. That's just to elaborate on Mr. Afolabi's point that one man's broke level is another man's dorime. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you. All right, we'll be back to you, Dr. Ofon, but let's talk to Dr. Emmanuel Essien. Talking about mental health, Dr. Emmanuel, you see, every day on social media, a lot of people grumble and complain about their mental health, about, being mentally unstable and all that. In fact, let me tell you something about my generation. I'm so sorry. I'm about to betray us. Please forgive me. Now, someone goes out in the morning, comes out with 2K in his account, and the next thing, he takes his phone. Bah, bah, bah. My mental health is at stake post. Or someone goes to Unical, and attends 2 lectures and comes back in the evening. And the next thing you see, that's university at Etagbo. Mental health, ... 0.0000. Social media has bastardized the idea behind mental health. I feel like a lot of people who make these complaints are actually having mental health issues, but I doubt that all of them actually are. I'd like you to tell us what really mental health is and how can you identify that your mental health is actually at stake.
All right, thank you very much. Mental health, a very easy topic and a very difficult one. Based on what you said about, I personally don't mind that the younger ones, this generation, is more aware of mental health. I don't mind. At least we have the conversation going because we're coming from a time when people do not want to talk about their mental health. People rather would hide when they're down, conceal their emotions. But now people are more expressive. So I actually don't mind that we're having more conversations about it. It's out there, it's in the fore. So that's okay. But what is mental health? The interesting thing about mental health is that all of us have minds just as we have bodies. So we all know when our mental health is down. We know, we feel it. I was doing a training recently and I did a survey and I asked people, I said, it was a room like this. I asked people, I said, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a broken leg or a broken spirit? What would you prefer? So let me try it here. Would you rather have a broken leg or a broken spirit? So broken leg. Yeah, you have to pick one. Okay, broken spirit.
You can't sit on the fence.
You have to choose one.
You can't sit on the fence.
You have to. You will not have it, okay? But it's an experiment. So choose one. Broken leg. Okay. Broken spirit. All right. So the experiment has worked. It's the same result. Okay. My guy is here. So it's the same result. I was really shocked when I said broken leg or broken spirit. Almost everybody raised their hands when I said broken leg. And almost only one person raised their hands in the broken spirit. So the message is clear. The same thing happened here. Okay? So it's clear that people understand the role of emotional well-being. What is mental health? It's about your emotional well-being. It's your thinking, okay? And your behavior. These things are related. So we all know what good mental health is. But I like talking about the definition of mental health by the World Health Organization. I'm not going to repeat it here, but there is a part of that definition that I like so much, and I keep repeating. It talks about a lot of things about contributing to society, meeting your potential, living to your dreams, and things like that. But that aspect says the ability to cope with the normal stresses of life. Now, as a psychiatrist, a lot of times when patients come to me and talk about, I'm feeling down, I'm having this issue, my thinking and all of that, I love my job. I'm really excited about it because I'm happy to help. So I begin to tell them how to cope with emotions, depression and things like that. But when people tell you, I'm unhappy, what is the problem? I don't have money. Where do you start from? Silver and gold I don't have. So where do you start from? So it is really difficult because, thank you, sir, so much for all the advice you've given. But I work in the civil service, and you have a lot of persons a lot of my staff, for example, a lot of colleagues, some of them are on the minimum wage. The truth is that for some persons, the minimum wage cannot pay their transportation. That's just the truth. How do you begin to tell them to save? I had a story of one staff who was having some debt loans and things like that, and they came and reported him to me, and I was angry, I was upset. By the time he sat down, he almost cried. He started breaking down the struggles he was going through. At the end, I couldn't say anything. In fact, I had to give him money. It's true. So people want to manage their finances. People want to do well, but the economy is really difficult. That is why mental health becomes very important. So what I do is, somebody talked about, I'm not a businessman, but I heard one quote some years ago talking about the secrets for business. And they asked somebody, what are the top secrets for good business? And the person said, number 1, location. Number 2, location. Number 3, location. So that is what they said. And I always like to talk about it when I talk about mental health. The key for mental health for me is also location, location, location. What do I mean? Where are you situated as far as your mind is concerned? If you cannot, so people tell me, I'm in this situation, I'm in a bad relationship, I'm in so much debt, I'm having so much trouble. And I look at them and I see that it's a difficult situation and they cannot fix it. So the question is, when you find yourself in a situation that you know you cannot fix, how many of us know the serenity prayer? God give me the strength to know what I cannot fix, and to tell the difference on all that. I like that prayer so much. You need to be able to identify when you find yourself in a situation that you know you cannot fix. Now, here's the reason why a lot of us have poor mental health. You find yourself in a situation, for example, somebody died. Okay, that's an extreme example, right? Somebody died. Some things that you cannot fix. What we do a lot of the time, for example, number 1, you begin to ruminate about it. Think about it over and over again. In other words, your location mentally, you've packed your vehicle, you've packed your house, you've camped on a situation that you know that you cannot fix. So mental health really comes in when you are in situations that you know you cannot fix. What do you do? That's where self-care comes in. So I like your story so much because you highlighted, as I was listening to it, I was smiling inside because I saw a lot of things in your story that were indicative of good mental health and self-care. For example, the first thing that happened when you lost a job, you knelt down and you thanked God. Coping, spirituality. You used your spirituality to cope. You went home and you met your wife and you communicated, communication skills. You were open and transparent with her. Open communication, not the one that you hide. Effective communication. You put all your cards out. You put it on the table. You went to the village and you said, even chicken I don't have. Yeah, still that openness. Openness with the communication and humility. Even to sweep this ground, I will sweep. All those things are good coping skills. I learned that one thing we do a lot is that we lie to ourselves so much. That's another thing about, talking about in the society, living above your means, all that deception. You cannot be coping. See, what is coping? Coping means adjusting to the real world. So what happens to most of us is that we are living inside our heads. You're imagining how you want the world to be. This is how the world is, but you're saying, no, I don't want this world. I want my husband to be like this, and I'm going to kill myself if he doesn't change. I want my wife to be like this. I'm going to die. He must or she must. This is my thing. I must. All those must. How do we balance it? Because guess what? This is the real world. This room is full of adults. I don't need to tell you that. You know that all this must, after how many years, what has happened to them? They're still there. They're still there. So the answer has to be adjustment. The answer has to be coping. The answer has to be telling yourself the truth. And sometimes reality is not so bad. We think the real world is, but the challenge is that you're running from the real. The real world is saying, please come now. It is not so bad. Accept it. Make peace with it. I'm not saying don't change your life, right? I'm saying you have to balance trying to change your life, trying to change your experiences, and making peace with the ones you know that you cannot change. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. Openness, truthfulness, communication, very key. Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Essien. And I hope we are jotting things down. I hope we are taking points. I hope we are taking things out. Can we do a quick vibe check again? Best music! Best music! All right, thank you very much. You can begin to prepare your questions now. Very shortly, we'll be calling for questions. You can either put them down in writing or you request for the mic and we'll give it to you. But before then, let's talk to you, Mr. Julius Afolabi, again. Tell us, what are some practical steps that can be taken towards achieving financial stability and eliminating financial stress? I know you had outlined some of them already, but just go over it again and possibly add some more. And also, you talked about debts. You know, how can one manage debts in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm you and take you back to the problem you are trying to avoid, which is financial stress? Because sometimes we run into debt so much that it overwhelms us and it becomes a financial burden on its own.
Okay. All right. Okay. Some of the practical steps you can take in achieving financial stability. When we talk about stability, we are saying that you're able to meet your necessary demands as and when due. Right? You're stable. No victor, no vanquish. And you are not open to some risk that you cannot manage. Right? That's when you can say you're financially stable. You're stable because in business, you don't have to be in the shop for business to continue. You're financially stable. You might earn 1.5 million naira, and if your expense is 1 million naira, all you have to play around with is 500,000. If you lose your job in 2 months, you can only survive for 1 month. Why? Because your expense pattern is 1 million and you earn 1.5. So at most, in 2 months, you are able to save 500,000 if you are that disciplined, right? And so if you lose your job after 2 months, you can only survive for 1 month, right? So you can see the gap between your survival and your stability. So that means after 1 month, you go bankrupt. You go to zero. People will not even be able to recognize you. Why? And the reason is because of, well, your lifestyle. So to a large extent, what creates balance is this. Either you reduce your cost or you increase your income. Some people, Robert Kiyosaki will say, financial freedom is not about how much you earn, but how well and hard how much you earn is working for you without you having to work extra. That's insincere truth. So you have that at the back of your mind. Like for now, minimum wage is maximum frustration. Like we said, environment matters a lot. If you go to Lagos, it's a land of stress and opportunity. You've got to do your validation first. What am I going there to do? If let's say a lizard in Nigeria will not be a crocodile in Australia. You must have learned how to be a crocodile in Australia, in Nigeria, before you land there. Are we together? So, changing environment, you must know your environment. Somewhere along parliamentary extension here. A woman sells fufu, just normal fufu, with no soup, just ordinary fufu like that, no soup, to those laborers there, and nets in about 6,000 per day. Are we together? There's another person in a compound. You're just sitting down, not doing anything. Almost every day, people ask, please, I want to buy a camel. I want to buy a camel. On a daily basis, in like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, people kept asking, I want to buy a camel. Do you need a prophet to tell you to start selling a camel? Are we together? So that's about adjustment, right? So the environment where you belong determines what you sell, right? You can't have a cockroach farm in Nigeria, but you can do that in China. Are we together? You can't sell the dog in a mosque. Are we together? So you look at your environment. What are people looking for in my environment? Okay, if you're a Christian, look at it this way again. If you read your Bible very well in Matthew chapter 6 down, right? At the later part of it, it said, there are some things you should not bother about, right? What you will eat, what you will drink, where you will put your head, where to stay, where to live. Can I tell you, those are where financial pressure comes from, but those are also what? Business opportunities. Those are the businesses that will never die. No matter how hard as it hard, people will chop. Me and you will not walk naked. Right? So the basic things that people cannot do without on a daily basis are places where you can what? Thrive into. You have gifts. There are things you do naturally. Today is easier to make money than in my generation, right? Like in the generation of the CEO here now, you can't compare their generation with your generation, right? In fact, 35 years of service, what they will pay them as severance and pension, this man here can make it under 1 year. All he needs is a good copywriting skill, a sellable product, and a link. He goes to the internet. He doesn't need to hawk physically. He can take advantage of the internet. So that simply means that if you are working on a job, don't wait to aspire on the job. There are a lot of people, before you graduate, you can aspire before you graduate. Are we together? And you might have been sacked. Why still going to work? Are we together? Because you don't have transferable skills. So skills, talent, creativity. Today is creativity, talent, and distribution. Go to YouTube today. You'll find movies that they probably released in like 1 hour. You have over 1 million views, right? And look at that movie. It's not more than 4 or 5 actors in one location about a story. Are we together? So you see it now. Limited resources, but what? Widely distributed to what? Attract a lot of income. So that's on the income side. About expense. Review, audit your expense. You need to check the difference between what you can afford and what you need. There are many people that don't need iPhone, but can afford iPhone. This is my Android, right? Every day, I write not less than 3,000 words per day. If I want to print an ebook today, I could just go to my phone like this. You have an expensive phone, the phone is smarter than you. Are we together?
Right answer.
So you can see it. So those are the areas in your life you're going to check. What exactly am I doing that is working that I'm not doing enough? What am I supposed to be doing that I am not doing? Because I'm lazy, laid back, and lackadaisical about what will move me forward. A lot of people have been procrastinating. There are many of you that want to start business here, waiting for capital. No, you need capital sense before capital. You understand? Now, doctor was talking about the money is not enough. How do you save? To a large extent, yes, it's difficult. But it's not the amount you save. It's the culture of savings. Because if you don't learn how to save 500, to save 50,000 will be hard. Are we together? If you cannot manage 5,000, 50,000 can help you. Are we together? When I wanted to get married, it was decoration. The caterer and everything, they say decoration and cake, say 330K. This was in 2009. Are we together? 330,000. My wife then, she was working in Lagos. I'm here in Calabar. Are we together? Say 330K for 2-hour decoration. Babe, check them. I don't get that money. Are we together? I don't get that money. Both of us were working. And we agreed that we are not going to bother anybody to contribute 1 dime for the wedding. Are we together? Today itself is even cheaper to wed. The marriage is more expensive than the wedding. That's what many people don't know. Right? And without finance, there is no romance. Are we together? So, so I just told her that. She said, I want my marriage to be this and that and all that. I said, babe, I get 80K. Anything we pass 80K, forget them. For her front there, inside the hotel, I called my parents and I say, hold on anything you are doing about this wedding until you hear from me. So she knew I was serious. Right? So she said, okay, give me the 80K. I'll add the money. See me the work. I have money, add down. That's my own part. Do you understand? So that's about cutting down your expenses. Stop subscribing to channels you are not working. You are not watching. You are wasting your money. Are we together? So you must have a way of managing your expenses. Know what you need, know what you can afford. Don't compare yourself. Mommy was talking about something here. I was firstborn. I don't have any responsibility. I had a colleague who was lastborn. So he buys the latest shoes and the nicest perfumes. I can afford that. I bought my first phone after working for about 7 years. Are we together? My responsibility was not his responsibility. So I can't compare with him. Are we together? So that is about practical ways. Find what you can do, right? Business is about finding solutions, solving problems, providing services. Look for service gaps. In your area, you're a young guy, you just graduate. There are many, your first class certificate, you can't give it to to Bolt to move from here to Unica. So the certificate is as useless as the paper. So it's the practical application of what you learned that is the real certificate. So there's real money and there's paper money, there's practical money. Are we together? So that I don't take much of our time about debts. Now, there is positive debt, there's negative debt. Don't borrow to spend on liabilities. Borrow to invest in assets. You want to do a business and you want to borrow money. Ensure that you are validated that that business can pay back the money that you are borrowing. How do you know that? You are not driven by everybody is doing it. That's why you want to do it. No. Is it what I can do in a different way that will make people pay me better than they are already paying others? Are we together? That's the basis. You must have a unique selling proposition. You have a unique ability about what you want to do. Everybody is starting POS. What will make your own POS stand different? What other complementary things can you add to the POS that will augment for the price you are paying so that you are at a better advantage than somebody just doing it ordinarily? Here, in Calabar here, you can sell 1 corn and 3 pear at most 300, 500 naira. In Lekki, you buy it for 30K. Are we together? But the steez is different. Are we together? So if you are currently on a debt or you are owing, right? And you are getting overwhelmed by it. Now let me share a secret with you. Even if you're owing a bank, show up at the bank. Don't be running away. Show up and make it clear that you are interested in doing what? In paying back the money. And as things improve, if it is you're supposed to be paying 10,000 and it's 1,000 that you have, be paying the 1,000. What happens is that what they're looking at your reputation and character that you will be able to pay if you have more money to that. What a lot of people do is you stop taking the person's call, you stop dodging them, they will now be looking for you with police. Do you understand? And the bad thing is that when they take you to police station, even the bank does not want to go to court. Because if they go to court, you will get judgment that what? Are you willing to pay? Yes. Are you owing? Yes. Right now, can you pay? No. How much can you afford to be paying per day? Only 1,000 naira. So the bank too does not want to go to court. Are we together? So show up and tell them that this is the situation. I know I am owing, but this is the situation. You understand? And as your finances improve, look for your high interest debt to pay first. I can be owing somebody 50K and another person 100K. Now, the person I'm owing 50K, I'm going to pay him 20% interest. The person that I'm owing 100K, right? I'm not paying him interest. It's my friend. What do I do? If I have 50,000 to pay, how am I going to share this 50,000 to balance it, right? I would rather pay this guy 40K and pay this man 10,000. I beg, no verse. If you no collect them, pay this guy the 50,000 while you manage this particular person, right? Because if you decide to pay this man 50,000, before you pay the second 50,000, this man's 50,000 has turned to 150. You are not better than where you started from. So look for the high interest paying and pay those ones first. And ensure that what you are paying. Why you? So don't multiply your debts. Are we together? So that is what you should do in terms of managing debt. Make efforts to do what? To pay. Show up and not what? As much as possible, don't borrow to invest on liabilities. Some people borrow money to put in schemes. Are we together? You can't borrow money to put in what you are not sure of. Borrow money to gamble. You multiply your burden. Are we together? Because you are not sure. It's uncertain. So that's exactly how to look at it. And when you are investing too, be very careful. Some people borrow to invest. The investment is not the sweetness or the juiciness of the rate of return. No. It's the security of your capital and the certainty of the interest. Are we together? Have you done research about the person that is asking you, bring two people, to bring two people, to bring two people? Yes, network. I like it. You will learn a lot of skill. But what I used to say is that train, do it for 1 year. Develop how to convince people. Invest it in what you want to do. Start your own business and introduce that skill of persuading people to buy. So as much as possible, if you are not creating product, right, either digital or physical, because without trade, I'm telling you, you can't thrive. That's the thing. And you will not breathe if you are not productive. So you have to look for something to sell. You create something to sell that others, that you don't need. Create value for others outside yourself. That's how to make money. Money is the reward for solving problems. So if you're not solving problems, you can't earn money. If you're not selling something, nobody will pay. There are only few people dashing people money. But if you create value, people will happily pay you. So that's what you can do. Not necessarily your own product. You can become an affiliate, right? You can sell on the behalf of somebody else. The internet makes it a lot easier. So whatever you are doing now, whether old school or new school, learn the skills of today so that you won't expire today before you get to tomorrow. Thank you.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. Don't borrow to spend on liabilities. This is very valuable information that you pay good money to get, and you're getting it free of charge. Please put your hands together once again for Mr. Afolabi. All right, over to you, Dr. Mfon. Mr. Afolabi said something very interesting. He said, minimum wage is maximum frustration. Welcome to Nigeria. You know. And I'm forced to ask now, how much is self-care? You know, when people think of self-care, they think that they have to spend a lot of money, you know, going to spa, you know, buying new clothes for themselves, doing facials, and so on and so forth. Tell us, how much is self-care? Is it really expensive? And how does one incorporate self-care into your daily routine without feeling guilty? You know, sometimes when we practice self-care, we are forced to think that we are being selfish, you know. So how can we incorporate self-care into our daily routine without feeling selfish or guilty?
Okay, how much is self-care? Self-care is not that expensive, but then it depends on what you want to do for yourself. And it also depends on what you can afford. Let me put it that way. Because even the spa you're talking about is a form of self-care. Buying myself expensive clothes, if I can afford it, it's a form of self-care. Going on vacation is self-care. So if I can afford to, you know, take off for like 2 weeks to the UK, and I decide to go there and rest. Rest is a very important aspect of self-care. So how much is self-care would now depend on what I can afford. Because basically, whatever we're trying to do, we need to be sure that we don't put ourselves under unnecessary stress. I mean, I keep saying that. Because at the end of the day, all the strategies that we put together to be able to take care of ourselves, let me just, take it from there, is so that I can reduce stress. Lying down to sleep at night. Good sleep is a form of self-care. Nourishing myself, even taking a walk. So if I cannot afford the expensive ones, I can as well just do the ones that I can afford. Taking a walk in front of my house every morning, exercising myself, is a form of self-care. And let me refer to something that Mr. Folabi said, like when he had the problem in his place of work, the first thing he did was he knelt down to pray. Do you know that connecting to a higher power, of course, I believe all of us here are Christians, so I'm basically talking about your relationship with God, right? Is a form of self-care. Why? Because it would help you to reduce stress. You are looking at a situation, like Dr. Essien said, you can't handle this situation, and you're worrying about it. There is nothing you can do about this thing at this point. Why don't you just hand it over to the person that can handle it and just rest? Because that too is a form of self-care. And then meditation. Now, I know that the people in the psychiatric hospital probably would have something to say about this. But someone once said that our greatest sources of suffering are the lies we tell ourselves. Another person said that no matter how mentally correct, no, how spiritually and morally correct you are, if you are mentally crooked, you will suffer. Now, the things that go on in our minds on a daily basis, especially about ourselves and about the situations we face, those things can put us up in a place where we cannot even manage ourselves anymore. When we are negative towards ourselves, there are many of us, because of our backgrounds, we grew up harshly critical and very judgmental towards ourselves. Am I right? So every mistake we make, we do as if we have just killed somebody. We are very, very judgmental about ourselves, very critical. We are negative about ourselves. For every problem we have, it looks like I just cannot solve this problem. That's why when I was trying to talk about my personal definition of self-care, I said, be kind to yourself. Because if I put myself up in that situation where every mistake I make, I beat myself up and down, instead of just, okay, Mfon, I've made this mistake, it's okay, we're going to handle it, let's see how we're going to manage it, and I forgive myself and move on. I am beating myself up, I am judging myself, I am being so critical about myself. It's not going to help me. So self-care requires being able to sit down and talk to myself. I mean, it's meditation. Now, somebody says that if you know how to worry, you can meditate. Am I right? Yes. So when we talk, the people say meditation, oh, how can we? If you can worry, you can meditate. In fact, worry is a form of meditation, but it's just that it's a negative meditation. So when I am lying down, I am meditating. What is the content of my meditation? If the content of my meditation is positive, then that is meditation, which will also help me in my self-care. Self-care, it just has to do with what can I do to make sure that I don't put myself up in unnecessary stress. Yes. He said minimum wage is what? Maximum frustration. Truly speaking, in this part of the world, let's be sincere, this self-care thing we are talking about might be difficult. Because another aspect of this self-care is maintaining a work-life balance. A lot of things are happening out there, so much to pay. I think the other day I went to buy fuel. Hello? I went to buy fuel. And in my mind, I had bought fuel in that filling station. I hadn't gone back there in a long while anyway. I'd been buying in other places. But that particular filling station, I had bought fuel, I think 750 naira per liter some time back. So in my mind, I said, well, anyhow, give or take 800. And I branched into the place, how much is fuel? They said 930 naira per liter. Now, tell me, minimum wage really can be equal to maximum frustration? I remember one time I was asked to give a talk on some mental health things in my place of work, and I showed a picture of a man that he had scraped his hair, and what was coming out of the head was steam. Okay, some people have seen that picture, smoke. And that is exactly what is happening in this part of the world. But be that as it may, if I can be kind to myself, if I can just pay a little attention to the things that are happening around me, for me, I can practice self-care. Self-care is not selfishness. It's not. I spoke to somebody before, and the person said, if you decide to love yourself, if you decide to take care of yourself, that it means that you're selfish. I said, that is a lie. Because even the Bible that we all know, Jesus, when he was speaking, he said, love your neighbor as who? Yourself. Meaning that the first person to love is who? Yourself. It's me. If I don't love myself, I cannot love another person. And there's so much about being able to love myself. If I love myself and accept myself, I will be good to myself. I will not put myself in a place where someone is doing something to me, this thing is not working for me, I don't like it, and I'm just there. And I'm still going back to the story that was read. That man, the wife was putting him up under very unnecessary stress, but he decided to take it. Assuming he had called the woman and he said, honey, I understand whatever. Let's just assume you understood. But you see this thing that you're asking me to do, I cannot afford it. As simple as that. Madam, if you want to go and hit your head on brick wall, well, I don't know. But right now, why do I have to go into an illegal business? And at the end of the day, I cannot sleep at night. I can as well tell you now, please now, try and understand. This is how much comes to my hand. And this is how much what you're expecting me to do is going to cost us. I can't afford it. You see? So that's why I still hold on to the fact that love yourself. You're not selfish. I love myself, brother. I am not selfish. I am not selfish that I love myself. Because when I'm able to love myself and accept myself, there are just some things I will not take. Am I right? There are some, I won't take it. There are some things that you want to do, and I'll look at it and I know that this one is going to affect my mental health, it's going to affect my physical health, it's even going to affect my spiritual health, and I will not do it. But if I don't love myself and accept myself, anything goes. Whatever you bring, I take. So it takes us back to how much do we really love ourselves? How much do we really accept ourselves? What amount of money or what price can we pay to make sure that we are comfortable and we don't put ourselves up under unnecessary stress? These things are very, very important. And so for me, the price of self-care is priceless. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mpon. Thank you. The cost of self-care is relative. One man's broke level is another man's dorime. So if you cannot afford pizza, I'm sure you can afford bole, or at least fried egg, All right, so before we go on, I'd like us to entertain questions now. So if you have your questions, you can put them down and send them forward. Or if you want to speak, you can just indicate with a raise of your hand and we'll give you the mic. But for now, I'll begin with the questions that I have here with me. This will go to you, Dr. Essien. My question is concerning financial stress. I'm a young person who finds it difficult to manage funds. I spend 50,000 naira in a day, and the next day I am borrowing money to survive. Now my circle is spend, borrow, spend. Recently, I realized I'm the problem and decided to save up. After downloading PiggyVest app, I still removed all my money for the Flex account and spend. Whenever I don't have money, I become sad. How do I go about this?
Please, I want to beg of you. I beg. This one pass me. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, I told you now, when it comes to money things, I think the experts should talk about money. Let him, yeah.
I thought you would talk about the sadness
The
part, but maybe
sadness.
we'll
That
come
one
back
is
to
easy
that.
now. Let him talk about money first.
All right, Mr. Falabi.
Okay. As long as you are alive, you will spend money. Are we together? Now, this person, your problem is not making money. Your problem is managing yourself and managing your money. Now, the big question you need to ask yourself is, what am I spending on? And what is it doing to me? Now, the problem is that you have a cycle that is certain. That's why you have kept that habit. Do you understand? You have a cycle, a money-making cycle that is servicing your habit. That's why that habit is growing. You see, habit is like a monster and it's a prophet. If you are pampering the habit, as you are growing, that habit is growing with you. Are we together? So, and that is the reason why the discipline is not in the piggy harvest. The discipline is in the appetite. You have tied your happiness to that particular thing you are spending money on. Are we together? And the truth is that more money does not mean more happiness. If not, billionaires won't commit suicide. Are we together? So you have to know what your contentment level is. What is my contentment level? There are habits. For instance, now somebody who is an addict, right? An addict will make money, finish spending it, and go back to it. Why? He's addicted to that particular thing. He needs to divorce himself from that addiction for him to be able to move forward. Right? So doctor can help us in managing those addiction. But the truth about the financial stress, why you are not happy, is not because you are unhappy. It's because you have tied your happiness to that thing you're spending money on. Just like a gambler. Right? I used to say it, a gambler can never be rich. History has not recorded world's wealthiest gambler. You won't be the first one. So, so forget about it, because the mechanics of making money is not there. It's simply uncertain. In the countries where they legalize gambling, they tell you a portion of the money you would not need is what you use for gambling. Our own here, we are using it as a source of prosperity. And you see, the moment your mentality, your capacity is weaker than your opportunity, prosperity will be far from you. You see it? So for you now, the spend cycle is not going to take you anywhere. If you observe your life, you have remained stagnant. And the people that are lower than you have gone further than you are. So if you really like your future, you have to now start setting financial goals and then discipline your appetite. Right? The major thing you have to work on is disciplining your appetite. Right? And the only way to discipline your appetite is move what you are spending that money on onto another thing. If you cannot, there's what we call compulsive buying disorder. Right? There are people that when they get into a fashion shop, they can't control themselves. Right? I have that challenge with books. If I enter into a bookshop, you cannot control my spending.
It's a good challenge, sir.
You understand? So that one is, the formula is spend to be rich. Don't spend to be broke. You get it? So you spend to be rich. You spend in the direction of what, like now, if you make 50,000 and you spend it per day, now make 50,000. Create a product, right? Get somebody to create a product, right? Spend 50,000, that 25,000 on advertising that particular product. What are you doing? You are expanding your income, right? Spend 25,000. Somebody has a farm, right? And spend every day, spend 25K investing in that particular form. So move your expenditure to an investment that you cannot reach. Another thing you can do is this. Put the money where you cannot. For instance, now, I have a savings account that I don't have ATM. As you see me like this, there's nothing called miscellaneous in my life. If you have miscellaneous budget, the money will miss road. That's the truth. That's the truth. So put the money in a savings account, or probably in an insurance savings account that you cannot reach, that you will have to write application for you to be able to what? take back that money. Now, when you think of the stress of going to write application, they will send approval, and the rest of them, you will just leave it. Right? So you do automatic transfer. Right? They will charge you for transferring the money. And you can't access the money until after 1 year. If you remove the money, they will charge you a penalty. So when you think of the difficulties in accessing that money, you'll be able to curb that habit. And then, so that's what you can do. I hope
Thank
that
you.
helps.
Thank you so much, Mr.
So
Falabi.
can I now come?
Yes, I would really like you to talk about the happiness part.
Yeah,
You know,
I
because
feel better now because
Okay.
you've addressed the one I cannot address. So that is the foundation. I'm a very practical person. You know, let's start with the practical solutions. Then the one will remain. You know, I can come in. So I want to give a scenario. My argument, I want to really state a case. Suffering is not compulsory. Let me tell you why I'm saying so. Let's say 10 people lose their phones, okay? I'm sure you would agree with me that you would have 10 different reactions, right? Some persons are so calm and collected that they'll lose their phones and go home and sleep, right? They say it don't happen, Abi. It don't happen. What should I go do? Those naturally gifted ones are good at this. I have the gift naturally. So the point is that you don't have to suffer. The fact that something bad has happened, the fact that something terrible has happened, you don't have to suffer. Now, I'm not saying I don't understand suffering. I do understand suffering. I'm a human being. I understand it. I relate with it. But when you get to the point where you say, I don't want to suffer anymore, then at that point, you can make a choice. And what choice can you make? I've already talked about it. It's about self-care. Thank you so much, Unfun. Like you're a mind reader. You took 3 points from my mind. You read, you know. So you've talked about self-care. Very important. I think Jesus Christ was the first psychologist because he said, don't worry. He didn't say you should not go to work. Oh. He said, don't worry about it. You can working and worrying are very different things entirely. Yeah. Worrying about what? So the worrying, talking about saving culture. There's also a mental health culture. Everybody has one. You know, if you have a tendency to worry and worry and worry, so the point is, if you're very practical with your thinking, take your thinking to treat it like it's money. Yeah, your thoughts are like money. Each thought you give into something is an investment. It is an investment. If you keep thinking about, so every day, you know, you think about the negative gets stronger, and one day it will be stronger than you. Yeah. Yes. So you need to be very careful about the kind of thoughts you're thinking. I treat my mind like a garden. If somebody offends me, for example, someone has hurt me, my priority is not doing anything to you. My priority is purging you from my system. You might call it forgiveness. Okay? Yes. But my priority is, as long as this person is in my heart, I'm carrying this person around. I don't build upstairs. I don't build waiting inside this person. Does the person deserve it? First, you hurt me now. I'm not carrying you around as a weight. That is, I'm repeating the suffering. You hurt me 10 years ago, but now I wake up every day and repeat it to myself. So I want to purge my mind. See, I love my mind so much. I try to purge it and clear it off. So the point is, if you're very practical with your thinking, okay, see, this thing will not happen now. What should I go do about them? What should I feel to do now? If the answer is, yes, I can do something, go ahead and do everything. Thank you, Mr. Falabi, for all the beautiful advice. Do everything he has said. I'm also learning so much from him. Do everything. But when you have done everything, and you have gotten to the point where you know you have given it your best, self-care comes in. Be kind to yourself. When something happens to your friend, what do you say? I'm fine, it's okay now. You have tried. You've put in your best. How you want to do now? Do that to yourself. Put chair like this, put yourself, and say, sit down. It is okay now. But you don't try. Okay? It is very essential. It sounds like a very little thing, right? But this is a culture. A mental health culture that you can nurture and develop. Start today. I'm not praying bad for you, but you know what? Life is stressful. That is the truth. So you must, especially the young ones among us, start now to learn a culture of a healthy mindset. It will save you because there's sometimes in your life you're going to find yourself in the pit. It is that culture that you have developed of a positive and healthy mindset that in that day will be your salvation. So please, my young friend that doesn't have money, it go better. Take it easy, it go better. Keep pushing and keep a positive mindset. Thank you.
Dr. Essien, very quick question. Are you also of the opinion that money does not bring happiness? Because that talking, and someone said something on social media that I'd rather be sad with 100 million in my account than be sad with 2K in my account. So, what's your opinion on this saying?
Okay, it's an interesting question. I'm wondering whether you're asking me first is the good idea because I'll probably end the argument with my point. Okay, so does money bring happiness? Well, yes and no. For example, the truth about it is that in many romantic, let's say marriages, money is the cause of the problem. Quarrel, yes, that's the fact. Yeah, people quarrel because of money. There's no money. That's the truth. If you just had some quarrels you have with your wife or your husband, you just know that if there was more money, this quarrel will not happen. That is the fact. I mean, I like facts. I can't run from them. Okay, so the fact is that, yes, money does contribute. And not only money now, good health, right? There are a lot of things that you need to to have a good emotional state. Yeah. So the fact is that money does contribute to happiness. But at the final stop, at the final bus stop, all things considered, is it really money? Let me tell you whether it's really money that's the key to happiness. And let me do a scientific approach. There is a study. It's called the Harvard Study of Happiness. It is the longest study on human beings that's happened. People are studying human beings for 70 years. What did they do? 70 years ago, they went to the Harvard University. They recruited undergraduates, over 1,000 of them, and they've been following them for 70 years, and a good number of them have actually died. So this is research. All of them, and this is Harvard, right? People are going to Harvard. Good families, doing well. So they found out, and of course, you know how life treats you. Some will go up, some will go down. After 70 years, what is the conclusion? The single most important factor for human happiness is social connections, social relationships. That is what the research is telling us. It's not discounting that money is not important. It is not saying all these things are not important. But if you're going to lose everything, your connections, family. See, this now we say, they don't understand me. Let them go now. I will stay on my own. Family and friends. And guess what? Your own mental health, the kind of person that you are, determines the quality of your relationship. If you're someone that doesn't listen to people, you're rude, you're inconsiderate, of course, everybody will leave you alone. And your physical health will also deteriorate. So what they found out is that all these things are tied together into one. So does money bring happiness? I don't know. Have I answered the question?
All right, thank you so much. Let's quickly take another question. We have a plethora of them here. And, okay, let's take one from the audience now. Okay, I see a hand behind there. Sorry, Dr. Otu, we'll come to you.
2 days ago, I was in my house at Akpabuyo. A friend's daughter called me from Akaifa. Auntie, where are you? Have you seen your mom? My mom. I said, yes, I saw your mom the day we went for meeting. We had our meeting on the 20th. And incidentally, it was our birthday. So after that, I have not seen her again. He said, my cousin called me and told me that that he was in the bathroom taking his bath. And somebody said that he saw me picking his phone. I disconnected his phone. He was charging his phone. I said, what brought about that type of question? He said, Auntie, that is what he said, though. After dropping the call, I dropped the call. He said, Auntie, please do not be angry. I said, well, when I see Elijah, I will ask him. But for now, since you say I should forget it, I cannot even leave Akpaboyo now to Calabar. So she now called the mother, and the mother called me. Please, in a situation like that, how do I handle that kind of scenario?
All right, who is your question directed at exactly?
My question is directed to the boy who accused me.
Okay. I mean,
Okay,
amongst the panel, yes.
Amongst the panel, okay.
Yes.
Let me address it to Mrs. Mfon.
All right.
Thank
Dr.
God.
Fon.
I was wondering how I was going to answer that.
First and foremost, you know that you did not take the phone, right? So I guess, well, let me say that I'm sure other members of the panel would put their voices too. But you know you did not take the phone, and someone is accusing you wrongly. Like Dr. Essien said, suffering could be optional, could be a choice. You may decide to carry that weight in your heart and refuse to forgive the person, refuse to let go. And of course, I believe that most of us, we know that once we decide to not forgive, we give that person that hurt us the power over us. Because every time you see this person, your heart will start skipping beats, right? And, you might choose to build that skyscraper in your mind and go around with the hate. And like someone said, that when we decide not to forgive, we drink acid, right? And we expect it to hurt the other person, which of course is practically impossible. But on the other hand, knowing fully well that you did not pick this phone, you can decide to call the young man in question and find out from him, why did you say this? Why? What really happened? And he may give an excuse that could help. He may just decide to be brash about it. But again, whatever happens to you as far as that situation is concerned depends on what you are thinking about that situation. Again, I still refer to what he said too. We all know, no matter whatever the situation is, see, the same thing can happen to 3 or 4 of us inside this room, but our reactions will definitely be different. And it doesn't matter how close we are. What determines my reaction to a particular situation is my perception towards that situation. What am I thinking about this thing? If you tell yourself that this young man did this thing because he hates me, you will never be able to forgive that boy. If you tell yourself that this guy is looking for my trouble, whatever negative thing you tell yourself about why the boy did that thing, it will go a long way to determine whether, in fact, you will not be able to forgive the boy. But assuming you call the boy and sit him down and ask him, why? And he's able to maybe look for some lies or whatever, paint some pictures or whatever, and try to get you to a place where maybe you can even be either sympathetic, as the case may be, or empathetic towards him. You might decide to just let go. And that is where you will receive your own healing. Because no matter how much somebody hurts us, forgiveness is the one that brings the key. And again, let me also say here that, because sometimes when we talk about forgiveness, we are like, why should I forgive? Forgiveness has never been for the benefits of the offender. Never. If I choose to forgive you for what you did to me, I am forgiving you for my own sake and my peace. So you might just decide to forgive and let go. After all, you did not take it. That's my answer. Don't know if another person has something else to add.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fon. I guess you've been able to answer her question. Madam, thank you. All right. We'll quickly take one more question from the audience. I'll go with Dr. Otu. His hand was up earlier.
Thank you so much, PJ, and thank you, the panelists. I just want to ask a quick one. Because we're in a world where the way we raise children and, the effect capitalism has had on us, it's a me-first world. What we call narcissism is manifesting more and more. And sometimes when people hear self-care, they might think, okay, yeah, so I was right all along. But how do we balance myself and altruism? Altruism is you're doing something and I'm not going to benefit from this. And, it's not logical that giving should make you happy. But a lot of studies have shown, and you touched it in your last, for you to have good relationships, you've touched relationships, the evidence is clear that logically it would mean the more I get, the more I'm happy. But sometimes the more you give, the more you're happy. And giving sometimes can be stressful. So maybe you talk a little more, how can we balance this? Thank you so much.
Okay, like we all know, having a good relationship is one of the things that help us even in our self-care journey. And I said, and I know I quoted from the scriptures, it's difficult for me to truly say I can love another person if I don't love myself. Now, balancing it is an understanding. At every point in time, we know that when we are able to be helpful to other people, we are actually happy. But then, when we want to bring self-care in, it's like, while I am trying to be helpful to you, I shouldn't put myself down. Because that is the problem we have, especially in these parts of the world, and especially in religious settings where we are expected to just keep giving, just keep giving and giving. I heard someone say one day that if you have 100,000 and they're asking you to donate and you give 10,000 naira that you have not given. And I said, for crying out loud, if 100K is all that I have, and I'm able to bring out 10K and you're telling me I've not given, what have I done? So balancing it is that, yes, I am helping you, all right? But I am also considering myself. It's not like I have 5 cups of gari. These days that gari has gone haywire, right? I have 5 cups of gari in the house and I have children to take care of. And then somebody comes to me and is asking me for some gari. And I pack the entire 5 cups and give to the person. My children are crying in the house. I don't think I am being wise in that situation. Otherwise, I can tell the person, okay, take 2 cups and I keep 3 cups. Because at every point in time, if I am so concerned about another person's problem, I will put myself up under very unnecessary stress, Abi. Yes. So it has to do with understanding. It's a world of communication. It's a world of relationships. And the quality of our relationships goes, of course, we all know, it goes a long way to even determine the quality of our lives. So we cannot push away giving. We cannot push away service. We cannot push away helping. But as I am helping you, I also need to understand that I need to be useful and helpful to myself.
Okay, if I may add a little to that, life is full of compromises. There are times when you have to compromise. You see, the part of the breathing, you know where to breathe, live, and thrive, right? The breathing is about you. Any problem that you take yourself out of the equation, you can't solve it. All right? So let me give a practical illustration. Some times back, even when I had lost my job, you see, one of the things that can befall a man is probably losing his source of livelihood. And then if you're insecure as a man too, it's going to be a problem for you. So to a large extent, your mindset, your exposure, your level of education and maturity to a large extent can determine your wealth, your well-being, your happiness. Now, my wife had worked for about 9 years. At that particular point in time, building a sustainable source of income was my priority. But at that particular time, she thought that I needed to do something for myself. I don't like this car that we're driving, right? I have not done anything for myself since I've started working for over 9-10 years. But for me, I was like, let's do business. We had business that were running. We had a business that was running that I was not earning a dime, but I was contributing maximally to that particular business. As long as the profit of the business was servicing the things that would bring pressure to me, I was not bothered. Right? So if the business was generating income and it was handling school fees that I'm supposed to cry about, I had no problem. I wasn't concerned about whether I was paid or not. Right? Said, okay, buying another car, buying a better car was priority for her. And I sat down, I look at it. She's working, right? The money is coming from her. She saved some money. Now if I'm talking about, okay, let's try and buy a piece of land and start building, I'll be selfish. But she's saying that I've worked for this number. I've not really done anything for myself. So if that's what's going to make you happy, please go ahead. Are we together? Now, growing up, my dad is a local printer. So one day he got a contract, he was paid. And on our way back, I went with him. On our way back, we stopped at a booker. And we sat down, we're eating. They say, give us pounded yam. My dad said, bring assorted. They brought plenty meat like that. I was wondering, what's happening? So my father said, eat whatever you like, after we finish eating. So while we're going, he told me, he said, see, when I get home, the whole money that you saw me collected will finish. What I ate now is my own. You understand? so you understand? So that's it now. Let's take, for instance, now, the CEO, there's sponsorship for this program, right? The CEO might not bring financial contribution, but his presence here is a valid contribution. Are we together? Look at the governor of this state. How much are you going to give to him? But if his son or his daughter is celebrating birthday and you show up, right? Your presence might make a difference. Are we together? My friend is wedding in Lagos, right? I want to show up at the wedding. I would prefer to send him 100K than to fly to Lagos. There are so many reasons, depending on my relationship with him. Are we together? Depending on the situation of things, right? I'll look at it. If I go to the wedding, if he no clear, if he no say I come. But there's no way I'll send him 100K that he will not acknowledge the fact that. Do you understand? So rather than me, you understand? Rather than me flying there, spending 500,000, I'll go by air and everything. I'll show up. You don't even get time to see me. Now only picture. And the day when you remember to check the album, you go to say I come. I'll send him 100K. You get the alerts and he call me and say thank you. Are we together? So there are ways in which we compromise. They say give us never lack. Some people say there's a rave now that they say it's better to cry in a mansion than to do. That's what Gen Z people used to say. Than to do what? It's better to cry in a mansion than to be smiling in the trenches. Are we together? The tragedy of that is that your life will be short-lived. Are we together? And so there's no way you'll be broken, you'll be shattered. You might be in a limousine, but it's not you that is there. It's just facade. Are we together? But in the trenches, as long as you don't relent, if your resilience is superior to your resistances, you will always succeed. So there will be compromises along the way. So just check it.
Okay, Dr.
Sorry, I want to come in because this is something that is very important to me. And I want to illustrate my answer using a story. So there was... 10 men were in a boat. They had gone to a party and they were going back to their village. And so as they were going back, they entered into a boat. And they wanted to ensure that everybody was complete. So one person got up and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and got to 9. So one person is missing now. Where's the person? They not called everybody's name, but everybody's here. That means you're complete now, but you counted 9. Another person got up and counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of them got up and they counted 9 persons. They were really worried. Somebody's missing. We cannot leave. We'll leave our friend and go home. What will happen? How will they explain to the wife? So as they were busy there arguing, worrying, another boat now came by and said, what's the problem? They now recounted. This is the problem. We're 10 we go party. Now 9 we will be. I said, really? The person now stood from the other boat and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You people are complete now. Yeah, you're complete. So who's? I said, okay, you're not counting yourself. That is the problem. So you see, that's what. So the point is that as you're being kind to people, as you're being altruistic, remember to do what? Count yourself. All right.
I think okay. I think the moral lesson to that story is avoid taking alcohol. You know. All right. I would have loved to take a few more questions. We have a lot of them here. But I'm so sorry. This is where we draw the curtains on the questions. But trust me, we'll take all the questions on the show tomorrow. You know the frequency, hit 95.9 FM Calabar at 11 a.m. So we'll do a mop-up of the questions that can't be taken here today. So very quickly, I would like us to give our final thoughts, just generally on the topic, reducing financial stress, prioritizing self-care, and improving mental health. How can you balance all of this, and still live an effective and efficient life? Let's begin with you. Ladies first, Dr. Mfon.
Okay, just try as much as possible to make sure that you don't put yourself under unnecessary stress, especially when money is concerned. Be kind to yourself, love yourself, accept yourself.
Love yourself, accept yourself. Thank you so much, Dr. Mr. Afolabi.
Okay. Money is not everything, but money will make a lot of things easy. Money is important. Work towards making money. Learn how to manage money before you make money. And ensure that you learn how to multiply it so that you don't go broke before you know it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Esen.
When you have a problem, ensure you've done everything that you can do. Ensure that you've done everything. Explore all the avenues and explore that you have done everything you can do. But after you've done that, please, and you encounter something you cannot change, make friends with reality. Yeah, make friends with reality. Because, you know what, the other option is suicide now. Yeah. So, if you're not going to go, and you're going to stay here, make reality your friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you gathered here this morning for listening to us. Thank you. It's been an amazing time with you. And this is where we draw the curtains on this panel. I hope that you've had a lot to take out this morning because I myself have learned a whole lot. And I'd like to leave you with this. Take control of your finances. Prioritize your self-care. And your mental health will thank you. And so will your pocket. Thank you so much and see you next year. Thank you.